The street smelled of rain and roasted corn. Vendors shouted in the distance, hawking mangoes and spices. The uneven cobblestones were slick underfoot, and somewhere nearby, a dog barked, but Samuel Hayes heard none of it. "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again," said the black beggar boy. The millionaire turned and froze. He was frozen in place, his leather shoes planted on the wet stones, his gaze fixed on the boy in front of him. The boy couldn't have been more than 14. His shirt was 3 sizes too big, its seams ripped in places, the fabric patched with mismatched cloth. His trousers were faded and frayed at the hem, and his feet were bare, the soles toughened and cracked from years on the street. Yet it wasn't the boy's appearance that held Samuel still. It was the words he had just spoken, with calm, unnerving certainty. "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again." Samuel's throat went dry. Emily, his little girl, 12 years old, with a laugh like wind chimes and eyes the color of a summer sky. She hadn't stood on her own 2 feet since the accident, and no one, not his business partners, not even his closest friends, knew. He'd gone to extraordinary lengths to keep it private. The doctors, the nurses, the therapists, all sworn to confidentiality. Emily's absence from school explained as extended travel abroad. So how? The boy didn't look away. His eyes were an intense shade of brown, wide and unblinking. But there was something old in them, a depth you didn't see in children. Samuel, quietly. "What did you just say?" Boy, steady. "I can make her walk again, but you must follow me now." Samuel Hayes wasn't just rich. He was the kind of rich that newspapers called untouchable. Real estate, shipping, hotels. His name was on buildings in 3 countries. But none of that mattered when he was home. Home was Emily. Since the accident 18 months ago, a car crash on a rain-slick road, Samuel had thrown everything at finding a cure. Specialists from Europe, therapists from Japan, stem cell trials in private clinics. They all gave the same answer in careful, professional tones. It will take time, if it happens at all. He hated the if, and he hated even more the sight of Emily sitting at the window, watching other children run past their garden, her wheelchair still beside her. So what could a barefoot boy from the street possibly know? Logic screamed at him to walk away, but something else, something he couldn't quite name, rooted him to the spot. "Samuel, who told you about my daughter?" Boy, "No one. I saw it. I see things sometimes." The way he said it was unsettling, not boastful, not nervous, just matter of fact, as if this was as normal as telling someone the time. "Samuel, and where exactly would you take me?" Boy, "To the one who can help her, but we must hurry. He doesn't wait." The boy turned as if the matter was settled. Samuel hesitated only a moment before following. They moved quickly, the boy weaving through side streets Samuel had never noticed before, past rusted gates and laundry lines swaying in the damp air. Samuel's polished shoes splashed through puddles, the sound out of place in the quiet back alleys. At first, Samuel thought they were simply looping through the city's poorer districts, but soon the streets narrowed further, the buildings leaning inward like tired old men. He caught glimpses of faces in darkened doorways, curious, cautious, vanishing when they met his eyes. The boy never slowed. "Samuel, what's your name?" Boy, "David." Samuel, "David, how do you know this person can help?" David, glancing back, "Because he helped me." Samuel frowned. "You're still out here begging." David's mouth twitched, almost a smile, almost a grimace. Not all help is the kind you see right away. They reached an unmarked door in a crumbling brick wall. David knocked 3 times, waited, then twice more. The door opened a crack, and a pair of eyes peered out. Something passed silently between the boy and whoever stood inside. Then the door swung wide. The space smelled faintly of herbs, sharp, bitter, and unfamiliar. Shelves lined the walls, cluttered with jars of dried plants, small bundles wrapped in cloth, and strange trinkets. In the center sat an old man on a low wooden stool, his hair silver, his skin the deep, weathered brown of someone who had spent a lifetime in the sun. David spoke to him in a language Samuel didn't understand. The old man nodded slowly, then motioned for Samuel to sit. Old man, in accented English. Your daughter, she does not walk. Samuel's stomach tightened. Who told you that? Old man. No one. The boy sees. I hear. Samuel's instinct was to leave. He was used to polished clinics, white lab coats, and sterile machines. Not a dim, uneven floored room smelling of roots and smoke. But then the old man reached for something on the shelf, a small carved wooden box. He opened it slowly, like it was made of glass, and inside lay a strange arrangement. Dried petals, a folded scrap of paper covered in tiny writing, and what looked like a bead made of smooth, milky stone. Old man, your daughter's body is not broken. Her spirit is afraid. It hides. We call this the sleeping path. Samuel raised an eyebrow. Afraid? She's had surgeries, nerve damage. Old man, cutting him off. You have tried the body, now we try the spirit. David stepped forward. David, he means sometimes the body waits for the mind to believe again. He can wake that belief. Samuel's chest tightened. This was insane. It sounded like some folk tale. And yet something about David's tone made it impossible to dismiss outright. Samuel, if this doesn't work, old man, then you leave with nothing lost. But if it does, he closed the box, you will owe more than money. Samuel hesitated, then nodded once. Samuel, what do you need? The old man gave David instructions in that same unfamiliar language. The boy moved quickly, gathering herbs from the shelves, filling a clay bowl with water, lighting a small flame beneath it. The scent changed. Richer now, a little sweet, curling into the air in thin ribbons. Old man, she must come here, before sunset tomorrow, no later. Samuel, that's impossible. She doesn't travel easily. Old man, if you want her to walk, you will find a way. Sunset. Outside, the rain had started again, light but steady. Samuel walked beside David in silence for several streets before speaking. Samuel, why did you bring me here? You could have asked for money instead. David looked at him like the question didn't make sense. David, sometimes the right thing is worth more than coins. Back at his penthouse, Samuel faced resistance. Emily's nurse, Clara, frowned. Sir, we've tried alternative healers before. We don't know if it's safe. Even Emily looked unsure when he told her. Dad, is this another doctor? Samuel, not exactly. But I think it might help. Her voice dropped. Will it hurt? Samuel's throat tightened. Not if I can help it. The next day, the logistics were a nightmare. Specially fitted van, medical clearances, Emily's wheelchair secured, her blanket tucked around her legs. By the time they reached the narrow streets David had led him through the night before, the sun was already leaning west. David was waiting at the corner. He ran ahead to clear a path, weaving between curious onlookers as Samuel and Clara guided Emily's chair over the uneven ground. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of boiling herbs. The old man motioned for everyone but Emily to step back. Old man, child, close your eyes. Emily looked at Samuel. He nodded. The old man began to speak, low rhythmic phrases in that same foreign tongue. He passed the carved box slowly over Emily's head, then placed the milky bead into her palm. Old man, hold this. Imagine the first time you ever ran. Emily's brow furrowed. I, I can't remember. Old man, then imagine wanting to. The air seemed to hum. The old man sprinkled water from the clay bowl over her feet, then pressed his hands lightly against her knees. David stood in the corner, watching intently. Minutes passed. Then the old man stepped back. Open your eyes. Samuel leaned forward. Emily! Her fingers twitched. Then slowly, her right foot shifted. Just an inch, but it moved. Emily gasped. Dad, I felt that. Samuel's heart slammed against his ribs. The old man nodded as if he had expected it. She will not walk today, but the path is awake. Do not let it sleep again. Over the next weeks, Samuel followed the old man's instructions to the letter. Herbs in the morning tea, gentle stretches before sunrise, daily remembering, Emily picturing herself moving freely. And little by little, the movement came back. First a toe, then both feet. Then one afternoon, she stood, shaky, clutching Samuel's hands, but standing. When she took her first unassisted step, Clara burst into tears. Samuel just knelt and held her, his chest too tight for words. Samuel returned to find David, but the boy was gone from his usual street corner. It took days to locate him, and when he did, David tried to wave off any thanks. David, I told you it wasn't me. Samuel, maybe not, but without you, I'd never have found him, and I pay my debts. He offered the boy a place in a scholarship program, clothing, food, but David only accepted a single worn leather satchel. David, books. If you really want to help, give me books. Months later, Emily ran laughing across the garden, hair flying, sunlight in her eyes. Samuel stood watching with a quiet smile, and for just a moment he thought he saw a small barefoot figure in the distance, watching too, before disappearing into the crowd. Sometimes the person who changes your life isn't the one with the most power, but the one who chooses to stop and help when they could have walked away.